On today's show, all the Looney Tunes are going to shut up and dribble. We also have some casting announcements for Child's Play. Plus, what are all these guys looking at? They're probably excited to go to the moon and be in Space Jam 2. Movie Talk starts right now. See that? It combined the Space Jam.
I got it.
And then the First Man stories. Not every host would have attempted that.
It's a sign of a professional.
That's a professional right there. That is Mark Yodi Reilly. Over there is Dennis Zen joining us. Like Reilly said, I'm merely the semi-professional Mark Ellis. And thank you to all the support that I'm going to be receiving for my participation in Space Jam 2. Yes, I just tweeted to LeBron himself a image of me playing hoops at a local rec center not too long ago. Because I could beat Bill Murray in Space Jam 2. Maybe not. That's the most exciting news we have to talk about. Gentlemen, I'm so excited because there's certain news stories and there's certain movies that you hear about that could be existing in the ether at some point in the future. The Crow comes to mind for sure. But with Space Jam 2, we've been talking about it forever. Who would make sense? At one point, we were thinking, could Kobe be? Could Shaq be in it? And then in more recent years, we said Blake Griffin. He'd be perfect. He already plays in LA. He's got a good persona. He does stand-up sometimes. But then he got traded to the Pistons. Then you start scratching your head and you think, well, who's in LA that we can... The guy who used to be in Cleveland. And he's also the second greatest basketball player of all time, at least right now. That is LeBron James, is going to star in Space Jam 2. And we're not done with the news just yet. Oh, no. Produced by Ryan Coogler, him of directorial fame from Black Panther, from Fruitvale Station, and Creed. And then it's going to be directed by the director of Random Acts of Flyness. That's Terrence Nance. It's a really cool show on HBO. So all this is coalescing into something very exciting, Space Jam 2. So Reilly, you know you're also going to get a heavy dose of Looney Tunes in there. I am over the moon, the proverbial moon, about this news. Is LeBron going to ask his buddy Michael Jordan to come back and make a cameo in this flick?
You think Michael Jordan will come back?
I don't think there's any way in hell that Michael Jordan is going to be making an appearance in this movie.
That's exactly what I feel. You know why? Because I think he doesn't want to. Well, I don't think he wants to share the spotlight with LeBron. I think that's his time has passed. It's LeBron's time now. This news is great. This news having Coogler come in, and we're going to get LeBron in his Laker jersey for a little bit of it before they take off the jersey and put on the Space Jam jerseys. This gets me excited. More press for the Lakers. Maybe they'll take some of the Looney Tunes and put them on the bench with the Lakers. You never know with this kind of story. I love this. I love that we're finally moving forward. I hear all the locker things on there, you know, that they shared as the release date, that it's going to be what, December of next year, or December of 2020 maybe. I can't remember what the last part was. Somebody cracked the code. I'm just stealing it from them and not giving credit because I forget where I read it.
Well, but according to both this and the Russo brothers, there's a whole lot of codes to be cracking on Twitter.
There are a lot of codes.
When we go to Space Jam 2, though, Dennis, I mean, this is something that I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be excited about. People kind of came of age with that movie in the 90s, especially the youngsters out there. The Cody Halls of the world really fell in love with that movie. Might have gotten them into basketball, into Looney Tunes, or into cinema in general. When you look at what the Michael Jordan movie was ultimately to become, it was a huge hit at the box office. I think this has similar tones of that. Do you see any hesitation with moving forward with Space Jam 2 with this team in place?
No, I mean, it totally makes sense. I mean, I unfortunately, I can't share the same enthusiasm as you guys. You mentioned like the young people and how it affected them. This movie came out when I was in college, so like I don't have the affinity for this film that other people do. I watched it. I thought it was okay. I didn't really, but I understand why they're making it. It's got a name. It's lasted through the years. A lot of younger people have nostalgia with it. LeBron is, you know, I liked him in Trainwreck. I thought he was funny in there, and so pairing it up with this kind of franchise that people know about, I think makes sense. When I first read that Ryan Coogler was going to be part of it, I thought they were talking about he was going to direct it. And I got disappointed because I was like, he skipped over Creed 2 to do this, but no, he's just producing it. And like you mentioned, Terrence Nance, he's someone who did a lot of short films and then that television series. So I like that they're giving someone that's younger and maybe not as experienced a chance on the bigger stage. Yeah, and
LeBron has proven himself to be a very shrewd businessman when it comes to his entertainment projects. He has multiple endeavors going on right now, which is one of the reasons why this does excite me, because LeBron is so good when it comes to marketing that he is going to take his time and he's not going to rush into anything. He probably could have done Space Jam 2 5 years ago if he wanted to.
Yeah.
Blake Griffin could have done it 5 years ago, but him getting the right team in place and waiting. And to Riley's point with the Twitter conspiracy theories, I'm looking at the lockers right now. It would appear that this movie is going to come out December 3rd of 2021. If you're going to judge by the jerseys, because you have Bugs Bunny's jersey number 1, then you have LeBron, and so if the way it goes in that locker, that's the date that it would land. And it makes sense that we're not going to get this movie rushed, because you do need time for the animation and the live action to kind of come into one. Certainly, even more so than we did in the mid-90s, we had the capability to seamlessly blend what you see from an animated world and a live action world. So you could be looking at upping the ante when it comes to how these two worlds interplay, Riley.
Yeah, I that's a good point. I wonder if there's going to be an update on the cartoon. Is it going to be like CGI? We're going to get more CGI with Bugs Bunny and team, or if they're going to do classic animation. I'm personally hoping for the classic animation to kind of have to match that old look and maybe up some of the other characters. Maybe I don't know. I haven't really seen much CGI Bugs Bunnies or computer generated like Pixar kind of stuff, but that's a TBD. Either way, Bugs Bunny, he's going to drain some threes, man.
Well,
I can't wait.
I might be out of the loop on this just because I'm older now than I was in the 90s, but there was a huge resurgence of Looney Tunes in the 90s. They came out, they were everywhere. They were on T-shirts. That's kind of one of the reasons why Space Jam evolved in the first place, plus the fact that Michael Jordan decided to be in the movie. Do you see the same thing happening here, Dennis, where we're going to start seeing a lot more Looney Tunes in public places than we have for the last decade?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because, I mean, yeah, you're right. At that time, they had all those, like, WB like animated what was it, like stores or whatever. It was like the stores that they had all like the Looney Tunes and stuff. I
had a bunch of Marvin the Martian material. I was a big Marvin fan. I had a hippie Tweety Bird. So there was a lot of Looney Tunes going around the Ellis household.
Yeah, but that stuff is kind of slowed down for this. I think they will stick with the 2D animation. I don't know. I just seeing Bugs Bunny in 3D, it's just not the same. I also wonder if are they going to have like a song like the R. Kelly song that they're gonna make the theme song for this. I mean, right? That was a huge part of that movie. I mean, tons of people listened to that song.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have a lot of celebrity cameos in here. I think you're gonna have fun with whether it's the Monstars coming back or whoever the opponent of the Looney Tunes, and I would imagine LeBron's going to be playing for their team. There's so much fun to be had with this, I think, and this is a big announcement today, and then we'll probably sleep on it for a while because, again, if the image and the theories to be believed, then we're not getting this movie until December, Christmas time of 2021. So we have some time to anticipate this, and LeBron has some time to get the Lakers house in order and possibly win a championship for Mark Reilly before they move on to. What are you thinking about that? But as a Laker fan, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
Do you think that LeBron is getting a little too entertainment next phase of his career oriented? Do you get a little trepidatious that he's working on this, and then Dennis vice versa? Because I know you're a Lakers fan too, but do you also think that maybe he shouldn't be playing basketball anymore if he's going to focus on a project as ambitious as Space Jam 2? Is he spreading himself too thin?
Yeah, he needs to focus on the Lakers and get all these projects off the plate, hand them off to his production partners, and really focus on the game and bringing a championship to Los Angeles. That's what he signed up for. He didn't sign up for the Lakers because it was in Hollywood and he has his production company. No, he didn't. He signed.
He's got a parking spot.
He signed up for
on the lot
for LA because he signed up for LA because there's Hollywood. But that's fine because he's the greatest player playing right now. He can juggle a lot of things. He can take some breaks. He could sit on the bench for if we win 70 games in the year, he can take a few breaks and go produce and do his little hobby on the side there, make his Space Jam 2, come back, win that championship for the Lakers. That's it right there.
Dennis, Reilly has all the foresight of Luke Skywalker did when he put on the blast shield to train with Obi-Wan Kenobi in A New Hope. How do you feel about LeBron with all these different things that he's got going on, all these different tentacles? Can he be the octopus that he wants to be right now?
Well, just to clarify, I am not I'm not a Lakers hater, but I'm also not a Lakers fan. I'm kind of indifferent about the Lakers.
He's the LA Kings,
I am,
right?
I'm a weird, when it comes to sports, I'm weird. I'm all over the place.
Who's your basketball team?
Actually, that's the one sport I don't really have. I mean,
Okay.
I'm from the Bay Area, so I follow the Warriors, you know.
Yeah.
I mean, I follow the Clippers. I mean, I watch the Lakers as well. But I have like Dolphins are my favorite football team. I mean, like the Oakland A's are my favorite baseball team. I have like a weird
Wow.
thing.
A lot of diversity in your rooting interest.
Yes. But in terms of LeBron being in LA, yeah, I think if he can't bring the Lakers a championship or at least get close to it in the first year, people are going to start wondering like, oh, okay, he's distracted that he's doing this and that, and he's in LA not to win a championship. I know just being in LA how Laker fans get about the team.
Oh, boy. Yeah.
Like they will turn on him if they don't feel like he's, putting his 100% into.
They will turn on him. They already turned on him.
Yeah,
Kobe Bryant, because he came to town and they thought he was trying to usurp some of Kobe's legacy, and so they graffiti the murals that they've already had.
Yeah,
for LeBron.
some of them, and then some other people are like the bandwagoners who for years talked crap about LeBron until he came to the Lakers.
Yeah,
I don't know if Riley's one of them.
No, I've never hated LeBron. I've always. It's like when you're playing against, whether it's Miami Heat or Cleveland Cavaliers, you're like, oh, great, it's LeBron. I've always admired him. When he comes out here, I'm excited for it.
But you're going to get, a little anxious if, let's say the Lakers aren't doing so well. And
the Lakers haven't done well in many years. I'm used to it
and then
now.
you see
I'm
set pictures of him, hanging out with other celebrities.
Well, there's a
movie.
A lot of new Laker fans now, and they are going to turn very fast if he doesn't bring a championship in pretty quick here, but I think he can do both. I mean, I think he proved that with Trainwreck. This has been moving for a while now. I do believe he came to the Lakers specifically for this reason.
Well, to that point, let me ask you guys this, then we'll move on, is that LeBron James is such a magnanimous figure right now. He's everywhere. You see him all the time. He is so ingrained in basketball, not just in sports and entertainment, in all facets of online media. You see him everywhere. Is he the right guy for that reason, for this? Because to my mind, the worst sin that he's committed is when he did The Decision and he made it a spectacle and did an hour. And you know what he did with that? He donated a bunch of things to charity during that special. That's the worst thing you've ever done in public or in private. Then I have no problem with anything you do. He is such a great ambassador for basketball. He puts kids through college from his hometown in Akron. He does everything right by me. So I think he's the perfect choice, even more so than somebody who I would have been interested in with Blake Griffin. LeBron, there's nobody more marketable right now in the league than, probably in sports in general, than what you have with him in Space Jam. So there's no other player that should be taking this role, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And you look at the press release that came out and what he's saying and the opportunity he's affording to some of you mentioned the director, like pulling him up almost like from the minor leagues and giving him that shot and wanting to show kids, and getting Coogler involved, who is all for representation.
That's what he mentioned about Coogler, is that because Coogler directed Black Panther. One of the things that why LeBron wanted him on this project is that because he said for Ryan to bring that to kids, to people who've never seen themselves on the screen for the first time, paraphrasing what LeBron said and talking about how he wants a movie that's going to empower people to make them follow their dreams. Saying all the right things, Dennis.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think, he is the perfect person in basketball right now. Blake Griffin, I could have seen it, but I mean, when you talk about who is the next Michael Jordan, people had mentioned Kobe, but Kobe's persona though didn't fit the same as LeBron and Michael Jordan's, and so I think LeBron fits more into that role.
Yeah, I think LeBron is the perfect person for this role. Very excited to see what other NBA players might fill out some of the roster, some of the supporting cast. Larry Bird was in the first movie. You had Charles Barkley in there, and then Bill Murray. I would love to see Bill Murray come back.
Bill Murray has to come back for this. I'm sure he will. I mean, that's like kind of a classic cameo that you always remember. It's such a classic. It should be a Schmoedown question. I bet it was like who appears, what comedian appears.
Back when I was writing the questions, I'm pretty sure I threw a couple.
It's a classic question. It's a classic move. It'd be a classic cameo to have Bill Murray show up, and you can just picture cutting to him and going, well, here we go again, and him getting all suited up and coming out. That's going to be great.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of comments about this, about LeBron's legacy in Los Angeles on the YouTube chat right now. So let us know however you're digesting our delicious content today. If you're watching right now, if you're listening on iTunes or on Apple Podcasts, Podcast One, you can get this show a variety of ways. Let us know your thoughts on Space Jam 2 with LeBron, Coogler involved, as well as all the other stories that we're about to get to. By the way, a lot of people are postulating in the chat room right now that the enemy should not be the Monstars, but should instead be the Golden State Warriors. So see how KD, Steph, Clay, and company feel about that move. Well, this is not the only story we have. Like I said, a whole lot of other fun stuff to get to, including Child's Play. Yep, there's going to be a reboot. Chucky's going to be back, and we now have some casting announcements to go along with John Gruden, the puppet that was made famous from the 1980s and 90s films coming back. This, according to our own Jeff Snyder, MGM's Child Play reboots has indeed found its star. Aubrey Plaza and Brian Tyree Henry are in negotiations right now to star in the Killer Doll movie. What they ultimately want with this film is to have a group of teens, a group of kids, not unlike what we've seen with Stranger Things, with it to surround the goings on. So I'm not sure how Aubrey Plaza and Brian Tyree Henry are going to fit in with that. They maybe they're the mentors, maybe they're parents. They're too old to be the teenagers, obviously, Dennis. So how do you see them fitting into Child's Play? Do you like these maneuvers?
Yeah, well, definitely with the popularity of Stranger Things, and then They had the whole kind of group of friends, young children, and hopefully they do that. I'm just wondering if they're going to stick with kind of the darker, more scarier version of the original, or do more of the humorous, comedic stuff that the later Child's Play were like. I don't know. I kind of tend more towards the humorous stuff, just because every time I look at Chucky, he looks like a Garbage Pail Kid to me. So yeah, I can't get as terrified of that character as I'd want it to be. So I feel like that. And then you have Aubrey Plaza, she comes from a comedic background, so I would feel like that fits more in tune with her.
Yeah, that was my question as well, or one of them, is that what tone do you take with this reboot? According to sources, she's going to be playing the mother character of one of the kids, and then Henry's going to be playing the detective who is investigating this very odd case. Reilly, as the horror enthusiast that you are, you would know that I believe it was a serial killer or some sort of psychopath. His spirit was put into the Chucky doll, and then that's what sets off our chain of events. Do you want to see it stick with that lore? Do fans need to see that classic Chucky design? What Dennis is alluding to, can you update the doll's look?
Yeah, it's a good question, because when it broke, they're making it more of like a technology doll, like a Siri gone wild kind of thing that's in a doll, and maybe it's a nanny cam, some kind of thing, or a friend that has Alexa kind of capabilities with Siri, and then something there. So voodoo magic doesn't sound like it will fit in this incarnation. So that's why I'm like scratching my head. How are you going to recreate? Because the Child's Play doll is iconic. Yeah. It's the good guy doll. You see it. It's in Halloween Horror Nights. It's in all these different things. So I'm wondering what that update will look like. You can look at past iterations of reboots of classic 80s kind of iconic horror guys, and they kept Jason, they kept Freddy, they kept, the Halloween, all of that iconography sticks with the reboot. So this one, TBD, I have no idea how they're doing it. I'm not crazy about the idea of a technology doll, because I think there's another one coming out by James Wan that is escaping me. It's a title. I can't remember.
Yeah, I remember which one you were talking about.
It was announced.
Her name's not Annabelle?
No. It was
and we talked about that because
it's a whole row of killer dolls.
There was a row of killer doll announcements coming out. The reboot here of Child's Play, then another one that Juan is producing, and then we have a third Annabelle coming. So that's where you're like, well, how is this doll? And that's why this premise sounds weird. It's like, how are you going to update Child's Play? If it were me, I'd stick with the same kind of thing. I'd stick with not necessarily a voodoo curse, but maybe some sort of magic that can get a serial killer in a child's doll.
It's listed as a contemporary reboot. I don't know if that's just because it's being made today, or if it's because they're going to update the timeline. Would you rather see this stick in the 1980s when the original one came out, Dennis?
No, I think they should do it contemporary, but I would keep the iconic look. I mean, just because everyone knows what Chucky looks like, and so when they, run the trailers or the ads, people will be drawn to it. But I do feel like they could change the lore if they wanted to. It doesn't have to be a voodoo curse. It can be something else that somehow gets into the Chucky doll. I think the other one you were talking about, I forgot the name of it, but I remember it's something to do with like a doll that was overprotective, like came to life and like
the nanny. That's
like overprotective of the child.
I'm missing up all these doll movies because they're all coming out at the same time, and I'm like, which one is which again? So yeah, I want to say it's like Nicole or something. It's like some name that there's a number in it or something. But this, I want kind of classic magic, something serial killer. Stick with that premise, but if there's technology involved, is it then turn into a Terminator thing where it's like it becomes self-aware and it wants to wipe out the kids or something? I don't know. I'm not crazy about this idea to be honest with you, because that if you're going to steer too far from the original Child's Play, you're missing out on some of the fun. Maybe that's a sign of how they're going to go towards this and make this movie. It's going to be like a cautionary tale about technology, which have been a million of these movies, like a Terminator or RoboCop, all these kind of things. I don't know. I'll wait and see. But I will say this, Aubrey Plaza, I love. So the fact that she was cast as the mother, which I figured to be, she's probably the mother like to Andy, the little kid in the Child's Play. She's probably the main mother that's going to take on this doll at some point towards the end. Yeah,
I think Henry's going to have some good comedic lines in there. Just knowing his background, then also playing the detective who's researching this crazy case. It's tough for a mother character to have a lot of fun because you're just so worried about your children in a movie like this, being protective. So hopefully she brings a lot to that role. I think she will. I think she's a great choice for the mother character for anybody in Child's Play. The original movie came out in 1988, directed by who? Tom Holland.
Tom Holland?
Tom Holland, yeah. I didn't know.
Spider-Man.
He was that old.
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's a different Tom Holland.
Took the DeLorean back in time to direct this film.
I don't know if he's seen Back to the Future. I hope he's seen Empire Strikes Back.
Don Mancini wrote it, but
that really old movie, Empire Strikes Back. We're talking about James Wan. We're not going to get to that story just yet, but we do have some James Wan news. First, I'm going to remind you guys that this is Collider Video if you happen to be watching us on YouTube right now. So go ahead and subscribe right here for cool shows like Collider Live this morning, Heroes, Jedi Council, all that good stuff. And then you can check out our other more recently launched channels, Collider Games, Collider Sports, Collider Quick. I wonder if the sports guys are going to have anything to say about this LeBron Space Jam news, or if that is more. I guess that more falls under our jurisdiction than it does sports, but you never know what's going to happen, especially with James Wan, because he's got a whole lot of projects that he is involved with, whether he's directing them or producing them through his company Atomic Monster. And we have a new one to talk about, and it's called Milk, and it has nothing to do with the movie Milk starring Sean Penn as the real-life Harvey Milk. This is James Wan signing on to produce a feature adaptation of Santiago Mangini's horror film Milk for New Line Cinema. Now, this was originally a short, and so we've seen this trend recently where it's a horror short, grabs a lot of views, people get excited about it, they say this could be a feature, a la Inside Out. That's what's happening. Again, James Wan producing it. Reilly, have you had a chance to check out the Milk short? Do you think it makes sense for a whole feature-length movie?
I've seen the short. I have no idea what it's about. I know there's milk in it. I know that there is a creepy monster in it and a creepy mother, and it has something to do with missing kids because the kids drinking the milk, and on the milk carton are missing children. And then there's a voice, and then another voice, and then he's confused, and then it kind of ends. And I was like, the monster and the setup to it, it's creepy. It is very, very creepy. I just don't know what the premise is. I've seen this short. I don't know what the premise is. I don't know, because it was like this weird kid is in the middle of some kind of like things are not what they appear to be. And he's like, is that the real thing? Am I missing the whole time? And is this a creepy mother that stole me? And now I'm on a milk cart. I couldn't follow it. Creepy, atmosphere, great, all of it. James Wan, I trust always, because he's done this. He did this with Lights Out. It was a short. He purchased that. It became a blockbuster of a horror movie and launched David Sandberg's career, who's now directing Shazam. So this could be the next thing. And the creep's all there, so why not? I mean, it's a horror movie, developing a horror movie. That's the star. You put James Wan produced by on there, and you cast some good actors. You know, you got something.
Yeah, I'm very excited for Manghini's future prospects after this announcement. It premiered, I believe, at South by Southwest, was one of the film festivals. It was, and they do like a Midnight Madness style with a lot of shorts, and so I think this might even been voted the fan favorite. Certainly, it got James Wan's attention, and I love when you hear stories like this. Somebody just out there making their craft, working their butt off, and then they get an opportunity thanks to somebody like James Wan. Dennis, this is why I watched it as well. This is why I don't eat cereal with milk. I haven't touched milk in decades. I don't do the milk. I do a little bit of almond milk. That's it for this exact reason. Are you staying away from milk from here on out?
Yeah, I thought the short was creepy as well, and like Reilly said, that the atmosphere was great. It is a little less high concept than something like Lights Out, or even James Wan. He got his start. He did a short film called, before Saw was a feature film, he made a short Saw, which I remember I saw that going around before the movie was made, and they just turned that into a feature film, and he got to direct it, and this is the same thing happening here. It is a little less easy to grasp in terms of the concept, though, because, yeah, it seems like they're in like another world. I don't know if it's a different like plane of existence, or is it some sort of VR thing, or is it, I don't know exactly what it is. It was very creepy, but it doesn't have that, like with Lights Out, it was very understandable of what that was hook, about. Yeah, exactly.
Where the concept really jumps out at you, because Lights Out, just like your point, and you're like, oh, I get it. With this, it ends, and you're like, how is this connected to milk?
Yeah.
How is this connected to the characters? Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, but Lights Out cost $5 million to make. Made over almost 150 million worldwide. So I feel like that's the pattern with James Wan. He's able to make that. Blumhouse too. Yeah. Like these horror films that have these concepts that they're able to blow up and not spend a lot of money on.
And thanks to Jeff Snyder, our own Jeff Snyder, for this tip as well. This is his report. It was probably what Brett Sheridan broke in on him this morning. He was asking him what you're working on. Snyder said he's going to have some sort of horror story to talk about later on today. Now you know what it was. Collider Live Movie Talk. The perfect companions from a certain point of view.
Synergy. Synergy.
That's what it's all about, says the producer of Collider Live. Are you the producer of that show?
I have no idea. Yeah, I think so. I think I am.
I thought you were fired. I thought you were fired.
I was fired at one point, and then I got a text at 3 in the morning from Christian telling me to put something on the show. So there it is.
Mark Reilly, the only employee to be fired on both town halls that we've had live. He gets fired, then somehow he just keeps Costanzaing his way and just keeps showing back up like nothing ever happened.
I'm going to be like Milton in Office Space. They're going to keep moving me back to the basement, and then it was a glitch in the payroll. We fixed it.
We fixed the glitch. Do not touch Riley's swing line. He loves that red stapler. Woo! We're going to save some time for your live Twitter questions. Go ahead and start tweeting us at the end of the show. We'll talk about a few of them. Got at Collider Video. That's the handle. Then the hashtag is Collider Movie Talk. You guys know the drill. But if you're joining us for the first time, certainly I don't want to mail in the Twitter plug, because we love hearing from you guys. So let us know your thoughts on Space Jam 2, the Chucky reboot, Milk, or the new trailer for First Man. That's right. I believe it's the third trailer we've gotten for First Man, the Oscar hopeful that played at TIFF for a lot of eyeballs, including these two. I was blown away by the movie. I loved it to death. I think it's definitely a Best Picture front runner, and this new trailer just reiterates what I think about the movie, that it is an emotional experience. It's maybe a smaller story than people might expect about going to the moon. Sure, that's on the periphery, the space race, America versus the Russians versus everybody else, trying to get into space and get a man on the moon, be the first country to do so. But you also have the story of Neil Armstrong and his family. Him, Claire Foy, Ryan Gosling obviously playing Neil Armstrong. It's a fantastic trailer. It's a fantastic movie by Damien Chazelle. You look at Chazelle's work so far, La La Land, Whiplash. This, you guys just are judging by the trailer right now for First Man. How high of a bar does this have to hit for you to be Damien Chazelle's best film? And did you get any indication from this trailer that it can do that?
Oh man, that's a good question. I mean, the bar is set pretty high, and from everything I've heard, he cleared it with a lot of room. So I'm very excited for all the buzz coming out of it. The trailer's gorgeous. The trailer was amazing. I don't want to see anymore. Unfortunately, with this trailer in particular, it kind of it threw something out there at the end where I was like, I wish I was in the movie theater for that one. You know, it's like, and it's like, it's hard to spoil a movie that you know you know history. You know he's going to land. You know he's going to say that iconic line. You know what to expect. But I like that. I like to be immersed in the character of this movie. It's Ryan Gosling looking at the top of his game. I think I've seen enough. This is a gorgeous trailer. Now give me that movie. When does it come out, Mark Ellis?
It comes out. I'll take a look at it right now. I mean, I've already seen it, so what the hell do I care? I've already seen the movie.
Yeah, I know you don't care, but some of us do.
Traditional theaters and IMAX, which having seen it, see it in IMAX on October 12th. So
there it is. So
I'd like to hear your answer on the question I asked Reilly about whether it could be Chazelle's best work, judging from this trailer. Then I also want your take as somebody who hasn't seen the movie. Do you need to see this trailer? Do fans out there need to watch the trailer? Or have we already seen enough and we don't want to have anything else revealed for us?
I do think we've seen enough, but it is a story we already know. And I'm with Reilly where it's like, even though you know that, like there were like certain scenes that you kind of want to go into a film like this almost pretending you don't. That's how you know it's a good movie, right? If it can enrapture you and you already know what's going to happen and what the ending is, if they can build that tension so that within the movie you're like, are they going to succeed? Even though you 100% know they are, that's how it should work. This trailer, I enjoyed it. It's when you weave in like real life speeches into movies, it's always tough because sometimes they either come off cheesy or whatnot. But this definitely worked, and I think he does set a high bar. I mean, his last movie was, nominated for Best Picture and kind of almost... It won for 5 hot minutes. It won, sort of. He won for director, and then you also, Whiplash was fantastic, especially that ending. So he does set a high bar for himself, and hopefully this lives up to it. It looks like it can, but I know you've seen it, so you know the answer to that.
Yeah, I've seen it. It's great. It's a great movie. You think it's going to be... I mean, again, Scott Mance isn't in the room, so we can talk about whether this is actually going to be better than La La Land. It's so tough to compare the two movies. Which one is his best to date for y'all?
It's Whiplash for me.
Whiplash for me.
Whiplash was my favorite movie that year. I mean, that just crossed the board. That thing shocked me how good it was. I like it more than La La Land. I do. I think it had more, for me at least, it spoke to me more. So, but La La Land is fantastic as well. This, though, for me, it's an obvious next step for him because this is epic. This is like you can't go more epic than space, and you think of The Right Stuff, you think of Apollo 13, and all those movies are Oscar caliber movies. So this one, I think, and again, everything I've heard, even to the points of what you're mentioning, Dennis, we know what's going to happen, but that when you're in that moment, he does it so well that you forget and your breath is taken from you because you're like, are they going to do it? Because you're in that moment. So I think he's going to surpass it. I think we're going to see a Best Director nomination, a Best Picture, Best Actor, all across the board, Best Actress, all that. So I can't wait. Yeah,
you going Whiplash over La La Land as well? That might be a controversial hot take, Riley. I don't know.
It might be a hot take, but
well, there was a lot of backlash against La La Land though after it came out. I think I'd still prefer La La Land. But Whiplash is fantastic as well. But yeah, there was a little, after La La Land get a little too popular. You know what happens when something gets a little too popular and people start talking about the praises of it, and then suddenly there's that, it wasn't that good.
It's not that good. Don't get cocky there, La La Land. Come on, why don't you come sit down here next to me?
People love you or they hate you, and I live in that centrifuge on a daily basis. Anthony Shannon weighs in. He says he's a massive fan of Ryan Gosling since he saw The Believer. I got to check that out. He said Denis Villeneuve's Blade Runner was such a sheer masterpiece. It's a shame it wasn't better received. First Man with Gosling is Neil Armstrong alongside The Crown, Claire Foy. He cannot wait. Surprised there was actually more singing from him in First Man than there was in La La Land. Interesting.
That's weird.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Kind of a shock. So we move on to remind you guys we have a whole cool slate of stuff for you to check out tomorrow on Thursday. It is Thursday, so you get Jedi Council Live. That's going to be at 10 a.m. You obviously get movie talk here with us, plus the Reilly Roundtable. New episode of the Reilly Roundtable podcast. Who you talking to? Have they seen aliens? You know the questions I have.
Yeah, have they seen aliens? I'm going to find out. My own Anarchy Schmoedown partner, Ben Bateman, will be coming on the show so we can hash this out.
He might be an alien.
So we can hash this out and make a run at this tournament. But we're going to talk about some Schmoedown stuff on the Reilly Roundtable, probably for the first time.
All right, then we also have Sportsbook Thursday night, and for your consideration, they're still running through a lot of the TIFF movies. It's a TIFF recap plus Oscar predictions. For your consideration, it's a few of us here, not me personally, but people here in Collider, and they're going through the movies that you should see if you want to win your Oscar pool and be caught up to date on all the award caliber movies that are currently coming out from now pretty much through the end of the year. Make sure you guys check out For Your Consideration, and we are going to move on to Twitter questions. Got some good ones here, and we're kicking off Twitter questions with something else that was big on Twitter today. That'd be the Russo brothers. They had a mysterious tweet. It was, I believe it was Anthony Russo taking a picture of Joe Russo, or it might have been the other way around. It's pretty far back, so if you're watching this in like your living room or something, look outside and look across the street. That's where the other Russo was sitting with his computer, and they just were very cagey about, hey, there's a hint in here for Avengers Infinity War Part 2, the fourth Avengers movie. And apparently, I didn't do it. I didn't take the time to do it, but I was reading this. It said if you zoom in really, really tight, you see 4 A's near on the computer, and that would mean they're working on the fourth Avengers movie. That gets people excited, Dennis. And then if you really zoom in, you can make out some people are surmising that you can see the words Endgame written. Do you buy into this at all, that Avengers 4 Endgame had its title announced today, courtesy of the directors?
Well, I saw the picture on Instagram, and I tried to zoom in on his computer. I couldn't see anything on there, so I don't know if people have like even super higher res things than I do, but other people were talking about the ladders and saying that made an A, and this other ladder over here made an A, and that it was, you know, the people speculating on all different types of
people
games.
saying they saw some X-Men teases in there too.
Yeah, it's crazy. What I mean, they wrote they posted that picture and they wrote "look hard," basically ... so that people would concentrate and trying to come up with. It might not have anything in there because, you know, some people are speculating the name is Avengers Forever or something like that. But remember, earlier this year, they were saying that the title should scare people. That's not a very scary title, right?
And Endgame is.
Endgame is, but Forever is not. Eternal's not. People were speculating Eternal.
Forever's not a scary name, and it's already been taken by Batman.
Yeah.
Sorry, Avengers. You're probably going to have to stick with Endgame. Riley, you seem to be doing
He's trying to zoom in.
Research. How's it looking for you?
Well, I see Luke Skywalker, but I can't see anything else.
Is Rey's parents in there?
I believe so. The ladder spells Snoke. And, yep, Rey's parents, Luke and some other woman, Mara Jade. There it is. So I figured it out. I can't see anything. I like the idea, though, of... I think the Russo's social media game is really good. I think that's really fun to speculate. If people are seeing Endgame, I think that makes a lot of sense for Avengers 4 title. Doesn't scare me, though. Yeah, I don't know what would scare me. Avengers...
This is the last movie ever made.
Avengers, everybody dies for real this time. That would scare me. I don't know. It's hard to speculate on this particular one. I just love their social media game. I love that people are doing that. It's fun because we are building. Maybe this is a tease that we're going to get the title soon. You never know.
All right. Avengers, the new batch, comes out in theaters sometime in 2019. And
I understand that reference.
We'll keep you updated. Thank you, Cap. Appreciate it. Now let's get to some of your actual questions. King and Commoner kicks off and he says, they're going to change sports on Space Jam. What should it be? They're not because LeBron James is in it. But if we were going to make a movie with the Looney Tunes combined with a giant sports star and we can't do basketball, what sport do y'all say is the best option?
I mean, I think the obvious one would be NFL football. You
Okay.
know, maybe get Tom Brady in on this, or I don't know.
So Brady's your star.
It'd be Brady, right? Isn't he the best quarterback playing today? And it's the Patriots. Can't get more American than that, and taking on space creatures.
See, I think that we're going for international dollars here, and so
soccer.
With hesitation, I say soccer because it's not my favorite sport to watch, but it'd be fun to watch the Looney Tunes run around. If you could have them with, you know, Ronaldo, somebody like that, I think it'd be a fun.
Pele's
not David Beckham,
huge, right? Pele.
Pele can be the Bill Murray.
Pele's a cameo. He's coaching. He's coaching.
Yeah. I think it'd be a fun movie, and even as I'm talking about it now, I kind of would like to see a Space Jam soccer movie. Dennis, I originally was thinking baseball, but I think soccer would be more fun. How about you?
I mean, I would say football and someone like Brady. Mentioning Pele and soccer, do you guys see on, you know that Roca and Jack here, they do the
Premier League.
Yeah. Did you see?
Oh, we just got the thumbs up from Jack Hine on Space Jam being an international hit with the soccer movie.
But there's a portion that we clipped out and Jack put on his Twitter that shows his reaction when he hears Roka mention that he had seen Pele play.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
Roka saw Pele play?
Yeah.
So Roka dated himself.
Yes. Go on to Jack Hine on his Twitter and look up that tweet because I cut out that video and you'll see his face.
It's so funny.
Didn't Pele retire in like 78? Wow.
Watch it.
That's impressive stuff, and I will make sure you go follow Jack Hine on Twitter right now and let him know you enjoy his facial reactions to Roka's age.
Yeah.
Born in 1945. Interesting.
Senor Pizza's up next, and he has a question that could cause some fireworks. Says, what's your least favorite movie genre?
Least favorite movie genre?
Is it fair to penalize an entire genre as your least favorite?
Yeah, man, that's a hard one. I mean, it's like...
You don't want to lose any of the...
I don't want to lose genres. Yeah. I mean, man, what's yours?
I'm trying to think of the genre that I get the least excited to go see.
Yeah.
Because any genre can have, even if you're like, oh boy, I got to go see this kind of movie again, you can have phoenixes rising from the ashes left and right.
Sure.
The ones that, oddly, the ones that I get the least excited to go see are animated movies.
Ooh,
I know I'm penalizing cartoons for being this whole thing, and people crush me because I didn't like WALL-E because I wanted more humor in WALL-E. No, it's not that kind of movie, idiot. And it's a good point y'all make.
Yeah,
I just don't get that excited to go see animated movies. There's so many times I go see an animated movie, and they're great. The Pixar movie, they're fantastic. It's just not getting me out of bed in the morning like some other genres would. Dennis?
Oh, I'm gonna break Riley's heart.
Horror, huh?
Yeah, but you know
Damn
what?
it.
I do like some horror. I think it's the specific type of horror that I'm not into, which is kind of the more torture porn, like anything that relies purely on kind of a guts and you know what I mean, that type of thing.
And that's my least favorite too. I mean, Saw. I fell off with Saw because I was like, it's just kind of the same stuff for me.
Yeah, but I like horror that's more tension filled. Yeah. That's why I didn't like that Halloween reboot that Rob Zombie did because it was just there was nothing.
It wasn't good.
Yeah.
I mean, I just think for that reboot in particular, I just think he missed the point of Michael Myers and
where I'm looking forward to the rebooted version, or actually not reboot, it's a sequel
now,
because that one looks more like it's tension filled,
right?
Like, you know what I mean? That's something I'm more interested in.
Yeah. As far as you didn't break my heart, Dennis. I mean, just a little bit, but not much. I mean, it depends. Like biopics. I guess the genre of biopics, it is all dependent on like who it is. I'm not really crazy. Like when I hear it, like it's got to be a particular thing in me. And then I would say Westerns. Westerns I'm not totally into, but I love certain Westerns. And again, it's all about the story. That's a really hard question. I don't think I can answer because I like every single genre usually gives me something that I love. No matter whether it's a star, a director, a writer, what have you, there's always something. So
okay,
the bottom Western, I would say.
Let me ask you in Schmoedown terms. You're spinning the Schmoedown wheel. What's the category that you are deathly afraid of getting?
Well, all of them I'm good at. So I can't really answer that.
I'm sorry.
You think I'm gonna give my weaknesses out there?
Your Achilles heel.
I'm in the middle of a tournament right now.
You better name something. Horror. Horror is your
I'm
Achilles
awful
heel.
at horror. Awful. I want to avoid horror on the wheel.
I can find Riley in a rare moment of weakness. Just cut through that character a little bit. I feel like I don't know you anymore. I feel like I'm friends with your character, and I just want to know my good friend Mark again.
I mean, Westerns is my answer for everything. You can look into that how much you want.
We did get a question that I do have an answer to. Millennium Falcor says, is there any recent news on City of Lies? So City of Lies, remember we saw a trailer for it? Johnny Depp is the LAPD officer investigating the deaths of Tupac and Biggie. Apparently, the movie, it was set for release in August. It never came out. There was a lawsuit that was between Depp and, I'm not sure who filed it. It was between Depp and the location manager.
Yeah.
And then, because of that lawsuit, the movie was pulled from its release date. Now, there's another lawsuit from one of the producing partner companies saying that somebody owes them millions of dollars because the movie was pulled and was not able to make any money. So I'm not sure what the release release date is for City of Lies, it could be this year's Gotti. I just don't know when, if this movie's ever going to come out, but we will keep you posted here on Collider Movie Talk. Got one more good question, and it's going to be a fun one, and it's one that touches on some other big entertainment news that we got this morning. It comes from Marco Gonzalez, and Marco, great question, says, with a Disney streaming service doing original Star Wars and Marvel TV shows, it was announced recently that we're going to get some MCU-centric short series, 6 to 8 episodes featuring Loki, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Elizabeth Olsen as Scarlet Witch, getting her own as well on the Disney exclusive streaming service. With that, do you think that there could be a Star Wars or an MCU movie that would ever debut on the Disney streaming service?
I think eventually.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think like anytime in the near future because they want to keep that separate, but eventually they're going to want to have something there in their library that's debuting that will get people to sign up. And I think there will be some sort of a spin-off, less budgeted version of Star Wars. Maybe it's a few $1 million and put that on the service. So I think that's a possibility.
Yeah, as much as I'm hesitant to say yes, we have precedent for this.
Yes.
I mean, I know it was a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, the 1980s, but we got a couple Star Wars movies that debuted on TV. They were Ewoks. They're not canon or anything, but I don't think they're canon, but they're movies. They're Star Wars movies. I think that if a Star Wars movie premiered on the service, it would count as canon. I don't think it's ever going to be an episodic movie. I don't think episode 10 is going to premiere on the streaming service, but a movie that is about Jabba the Hutt being a violent gangster, a movie that's about Yoda's high school buddy, I think that could come to pass. I think that will come to pass. I'm not sure what the timeline is, Reilly. Do you have any speculation on that?
I think it'll absolutely happen. I think they'll start the streaming service by luring people in with a series about Loki, with a series that's set in the Star Wars universe. A Lady and the Tramp live action kind of remake, that's going to go on there. We're probably going to get a few more announcements of like movies specifically from Disney brands debuting on that. You're going to get a ton of people, including me, signing up for this in 3, 4, 5 years down the line, just like Netflix did. Netflix makes original movies and puts it on there. I think they're going to do the same. I mean, I think it's a no-brainer. You can focus on so much. You could make a Hawkeye movie at one point, maybe. I don't know. You can make a movie about the Skrulls, after Captain Marvel. You can make a movie set in Mos Eisley Cantina or something that doesn't have the big, huge characters that we need, like a legacy characters. It's just a no-brainer. I think we're going to see that, while we also see the big movies showing up, another MCU movie in theaters, another maybe saga film or a Star Wars story set with Luke Skywalker and Ben Solo before Force Awakens. That's what I want. That would be fun.
The possibilities are endless. I wonder if they'll talk about this on Jedi Council tomorrow. Maybe even Reilly and Mark Fernandez can debate it on an upcoming episode of The Rule of Two. You see how much I support you? Yet you never give me any straight answers when it comes to the Schmoedown.
I love
5, 4, 15 seconds.
Repeat the question.
Just say something nice.
Repeat the question, please.
Nope. You used all your JTE rules, and we've used all our time. I'd love to keep you guys longer, but Adam Smith has family in town, so we got to let him attend to that. And we thank you guys for being our family here every day, Monday through Thursday at 4 p.m. That means we'll be back tomorrow with a whole new slate of movie news for Dennis Zen, the maybe Golden State Warrior, definitely a Dolphins fan, definitely a LA Kings fan, and LeBron, now lover, Mark Yodi Reilly. I am merely Mark Ellis. Go Spurs, go, but I'm excited about Space Jam 2. We'll talk to you all tomorrow. Have a good one. Hey everybody, Mark Ellis here. Thanks for watching this episode of Collider Movie Talk. You want to watch more? Then click up here, or you can click right here for more great content from Collider. And if you haven't subscribed to Collider Video, do so right now and share this vid with your friends. Thanks for watching.